Who's got the button?
Loving the buttons.
Hey, everybody, come on in. We see you out there.
Oh.
Just jump in. The chat's open. Come on. Where are you? Here, I'm going to move my microphone closer so you might be able to hear me. There we are. Maybe I can talk in a lower voice now.
Right.
Come on in, everybody. We see you out there.
Open your window.
I don't have a window down here in my basement that opens. So. Come on in, everyone. It's the Sunday Funnies for the 22nd of May already.
Already.
Holy crap.
Uh-huh.
Holy crap. Comments are on. We're just waiting for you to talk to us.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah, everyone's waking up.
Everyone's waking up.
Uh-huh.
I have not one but 2 coffees this morning.
We have a busy day today.
The wife went scavenger hunting this morning over at the local grocery store.
Oh.
So
that's something I would do. Definitely.
Holy crap. And apparently there's a nationwide, well, at least our grocery store chain-wide shutdown of being able to accept debit cards. So.
Oh,
why?
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Wow, that is weird.
They don't want your money. It's their system. You get these automatic cash registers working. And you got to hope all the ducks line up in a row. And if there's one piece of code that's mislabeled, you've got problems. So,
oh, well, yeah, that's true.
it's like that with any computer system. Come on in, folks.
To err is human. To screw things up requires a computer.
Yeah, pretty much. Seems that way.
Well, as long as you all realize that your money isn't actually yours, that's all that matters.
It's not even actually money anymore.
It's money.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's all a so-called mutually acceptable concept for barter. That's all.
Yeah, there you go.
Trading services for green pieces of paper or multicolor pieces of paper, depending upon where in the world you are.
Yes. Because
Canada.
Chickens just don't cut it anymore.
Nope.
It's not even real paper now, is it? It's some sort of plastic.
It's a type of fabric. Yeah. It's kind of it's a textile actually.
Good rag content. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
How many chickens do I have to get in order to get like that new Porsche that I've always wanted?
That's going to take a lot of chickens.
There's 70 billion chickens on the planet, give or take. Was it going to be like a couple? Like 100 million or something? That's a lot of chicken.
That's why we converted to metal coins.
Yeah.
So we don't have to deal with.
Well,
it was easier to buy Porsches with paper.
Easier to lug around.
Well, the reason why I asked that because I got like 20 chickens in the back, and if I selectively breed them with like steroids and stuff, give me about a year and I'll have about 100 million chickens, man.
No, you don't want 100 million chickens.
Well, actually, you'll get to a certain number where you attract the local government, and then they'll tell you that you're not a farm.
You can't have 100 million chickens in your backyard.
Man,
they'll
not
shut you
fair.
down real quick.
You'll find out if you get 100 million chickens in your backyard. You'll find out that the queen actually owns half of it.
Yeah, exactly.
The queen will eat all the chickens.
Right. After she's done with all the swans.
Yeah, and that's before the tax, and she won't be paying any tax,
Right, yeah.
No, that's right. She doesn't pay tax on chickens either.
Uh-huh.
They could figure out what to do with their provincial Canadian geese and keep them up in Canada. That would be nice.
Right.
There's a geese tax in Canada?
Those things are mean. No, there's no geese tax in Canada.
I had no idea that they had a geese tax in Canada, man.
They fly.
No, I don't think they have a geese.
They don't have a geese tax.
Anybody here Canadian aside from Glenn? I mean,
oh my goodness. Technically, by proximity, Randy is the closest to Canadian.
Well, how are you, Randy?
If
you're Canadian, how come your head isn't shaped like Terrence and Phillip from South Park?
I'm not
how come
Canadian,
you don't say "hey"? Oh, okay. Because if you were Canadian, I figured you'd say, I went to the store, eh? Like you say "a" at the end of every sentence. I mean, is that true?
No, not unless. Well, some people up in the Upper Peninsula.
Okay, all right. Because I was just trying to figure that out.
I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle of the mid.
Right. Yeah.
Pretty close to the. About right there.
Yeah. I was looking on a map. Just looking, just Google mapping Michigan, and yeah, it really does look like a mitt. It looks like an oven
does look
mitt.
like a mitt. It looks like an oven mitt. When I make my pizza.
Right.
So there must be a lot of Italians there too.
And really, I didn't realize how it's like. Wow, it's like there's a part of Michigan where you could literally walk to Canada.
You've never seen or looked at Michigan before?
No.
Well, you can.
Needed to before.
You can, but you'd be stopped at the border. You'd be stopped at the border. Yeah, that's. We're actually a mitten with a running rabbit on top.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love mittens with running rabbits on top.
I mean,
are they taxed?
They're taxed.
Oh, yeah.
They're taxed.
Always.
Yeah,
so mitten rabbit tax.
We inherited, and this is not a lie, Michigan inherited the rabbit, the Upper Peninsula on top, because we allowed Ohio to have Toledo. We won.
Right, yeah.
Oh, you won. You won in that one. You definitely won in that one. I mean, it's like, why would anybody willfully want Toledo?
Right.
It's holy God.
Ohio wanted port access to the to Lake Erie.
Let me think. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And we already had Detroit, so we said, well, So if you look at the bottom part of Michigan, there's a jag in it that drops. 300 or 400 miles away. It's something about lateral lines or whatever, and then just bumps down and scoots straight over.
Oh my God.
We traded Toledo and that little strip of land for all of the Upper Peninsula, which they were going to give to Wisconsin, but Wisconsin really didn't want it. So
what did the locals think about that? The what we would call the Red Indians. What did they think about that transaction?
Well, they didn't have any say in this.
What are you, nuts?
We just thought they were crazy natives until we gave them casinos.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, so I just want
That's racist.
Well, yes, it is. Yes, it is. I just want to give a shout out to
that's actually historic, but that's okay.
No,
I don't mean that as a racist comment.
I would never think that you are a racist, Randy.
We kid this early.
Anything I am.
I know.
But yeah, so hello to Bristolian Dave in the chat. Hello.
The best casinos up here are native owned anyway. That they're all just finely regulated and they're making more money than any of us. So
well done.
It got to the last week. They had a big one of the tribes gave away $1 million to the local area because they see the economy inequality. So I was like, hey, fire department, maybe we need a little bit more protection. Here's a little bit extra money.
Exactly.
Update your equipment, will you? Please.
Yeah, and while you're at it, take Toledo with you.
Toledo's already in Ohio. It's where it belongs.
Right.
It's where it belongs.
Oh, okay. All right.
So here we are on Sunday Funnies giving you your early morning geography lesson.
I'm here in Michigan in Flint, and I love my state. Once you get away from Flint, once you get away from and some areas of Detroit, some areas of Flint, some areas of Saginaw have bad reputations, but other than that, this state's beautiful. So
right, yeah.
Randy have a bad reputation? I would never think that.
Absolutely.
Randy has
come on in, everybody.
Reputation. Randy's a heartbreaker.
Thanks for joining us.
Randy's
I'm sorry,
a
Rich. I just anyway.
You heartbreaker. You studly man. You take me home.
Believe me, I haven't broken any hearts.
It's Sunday morning here, Rich. It's too early for us for that.
All right. I'm sorry.
Too early.
I'll be quiet. I'll be a nice, obedient little Italian slave who will obey and listen to the woman. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will pretend you are my grandmother, and I will listen to everything that my grandma tells me. You Richard, they're going aside. They'll be quiet. They're keeping you drawn and you fast. Okay, Grandma.
Except I won't keep you fed.
I want to be fed. I need to be a food.
More like the comic line, Mom.
I want to make it a pizza.
We're running the opening, and then we'll talk comics. Hang on, folks.
Yes, sir.
I should probably put Tall Tales back in the opening.
Man, that was an evil, sinister laugh at the end of that music, that opening music, man.
Thank you. That was meant to be a jolly, happy laugh.
That scared.
Apparently,
that scared
I missed.
me. Well, I don't know. That thing reached into my soul and pulled it out and stepped on it a few times, and then put it back in less than 5 seconds. So now I'm gonna have nightmares about that.
Well, apparently, I have that effect on you.
So.
You have so many effects on me, Randy. I can't even describe them all.
Everybody, it's Sunday Funnies, where we try to
Good
put fun back in
morning.
Funny Book. We talk about the passion of the industry that we love.
Hello, Randy. How are you?
And the shape of
I'm good.
Michigan.
And the
Hello,
shape of
Miss
Michigan, whenever possible.
Michigan. Hello, Miss Daphne, and hello there, Glenn. How are all of you lovely humans doing today?
Keeping busy,
How are you, Rich?
just like
You're doing
you,
good.
Rich.
I am well. I am well.
Good to know. I am your host, Randy Zimmerman. I'm a longtime alternative and independent comics producer, creator, publisher, done just about everything in the alternative market that you can think of, everything in this business that you can think of, except I haven't worked for the big mainstream guys. I turned down my apprenticeship back in '85, internship. But anyway, they said it pays this much, and I literally laughed at.
You got paid for your internship?
They offered me $9,000 a year.
They offered me no grand a year.
Yeah.
I got the internship.
I almost got an internship at Marvel, but I made the mistake of bringing JD with me.
Oh, Jesus Christ. JD is a corrupter of souls. I will say this.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
JD is a corrupter of souls.
Right, and apparently he was too much of a cock block at Marvel. So.
Well,
Not that I'm implying
to who? Who did he cock block up at Marvel? It's not exactly. You don't exactly have a bevy of the hottest men and women up there. I mean,
but. I didn't get my internship. That's the important part.
Okay. Well, the last time I was up there, they had a little bit of his eye candy, but I'm like, all right, well, you're an editor, so it doesn't really help.
There you go.
I can't really look at you, so just keep editing the books, young lady. That's all.
Right.
You too, young hot man.
yeah, try to catch those spelling errors that everybody missed during that period. Yeah.
Oh my God, how do you spell cat or something?
Exactly.
So
Catastrophic. That starts with a K, right? Yeah.
It starts with a K, like a Kardashian. Oh my God, it's amazing.
So there you go. So Randy doesn't work everywhere but Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
That is something to be behold. Actually, that's a good thing.
I did a T-shirt Marvel had to approve once though for a convention. That was an interesting experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did they approve it?
Yeah, but I had to change the PMS color on the blue that I was using. It was only like a 5-color print, so we were trying to keep everything so it was screen printed, so down to 5 screens. But I had to meet the correct PMS color blue for the beast's fur.
Oh.
Like,
I can imagine they have everything all Pantone coded and everything.
Yeah, they did.
A Pantone number that they never follow anymore because the beast is like whatever the colorist wants to make him anymore.
Right.
That is true.
Like, blue, that's it.
When I was at Marvel in the Raider department, in the art corrections department, it was before Photoshop and before they did all that digital coloring. And I remember a gentleman by the name of Paul Beckton, who was a machine with it. And back then, you had to get the original size pages reduced down to 66% because that's the size of an actual comic, from 11 by 17 to 6.5 by 10 or whatnot. Yeah. And he had to have an array of about 144 different markers to use, and every single color that he put in, he would have to put in the 6-digit code of what color it's going to be.
Right. Wow. Yeah.
That's insane. I mean, but he knew it by heart because he did so many thousands upon thousands of pages, and I'm like, how the hell do you do this? And he's just after a while, you just figure it out. And it's you have to be a computer / encyclopedia everything in order to make sure you remember all those codes. Well, and now it's let's press blue, and Photoshop gives you blue.
Right.
Once you have to write it down a couple of hundred times, it probably becomes muscle memory more than anything.
It does. It really does.
So, Rich, after that story, why don't you tell everybody who you are?
There we go.
My name's Rich, and I draw stuff.
And obviously worked for Marvel.
Okay, well, all right. My full name, if I'm gonna really just say it, my full name is Richard Perrotta. I started my professional career at Marvel Comics in 1994 as a member of the staff, a temporary staff position in the art corrections department, which I'm sure a bunch of you know if you've ever worked for Marvel before, are affectionately called Romita's Raiders. Like, we would go in and we would correct a lot of the crap art that was around in the early to mid 90s. And I was there for about a year and a half. And then afterwards, from 1995 to 2004, I was an inker on, I cannot tell you how many titles. One more, if I was doing 5 pages on one, I was finishing a book. On the other, I was working on a series or whatnot. I did that until 2004, and then I stopped for a while. And then in 2010, I picked up again, this time for DC as an inker on Booster Gold, The Ray, an issue of Batman Beyond, and an issue of Justice League. And that was it on my inking thing. And I decided in 2013 to take whatever talents I had to try and be a penciler. So I worked in the independent circuit. And I found that the most rewarding because there wasn't any type of style guide that I had to continuously follow and be checked on from Marvel or DC or whatnot. But more often than not, I had to help create the characters that I drew. And did that for about 8 years. And in 2020, I sought about publishing my own book. And not only am I working on chapter 3 of my graphic novel series, The Incantessi, but I have an announcement coming up for CromCon, and it's going to be a little unexpected from what I usually do. So watch the show. And if you want to know anything else about me, just send me a friend request on Facebook or whatnot, and I shall accommodate.
There you go.
Empyrean Vold's in the house. Good morning. Peter, how you doing?
Good morning,
Empyrean Vold. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Empyrean Vold.
Hey, the Ninja.
Good morning, the Ninja.
Hello, Dan Ninja.
You're doing well. Explains everything.
Yes. Sugar. Hello, Sugar.
Hello. Sugar's in the house early. Hey, Sugar, how you doing?
He's awake.
Everybody says Sugar.
Barely.
Chris. Yeah.
Barely.
He's awake. Holy shit.
There's Russ. Russ is in the chat.
Russ is awake.
Russ,
I sent him a link.
Oh, that's Russ Leach. Okay.
Yeah.
Russ, you're welcome to come in.
As gonna get it, yeah.
I thought it was Russell Allen. I was going to make fun of him again.
I was going to talk Doctor Who rumors, but that's okay.
Oh God, there's so many cool Doctor Who rumors.
Hey, Quentin.
Peekaboo, hail Dr. Rich. Good and bad, by the way. They say that they're turning Russell Davies into the Kevin Feige of Doctor Who.
Yeah, they are.
And he's going to start a large amount of shows of all different types.
Yeah, he's right.
They've already talked to Paul McGann and Sylvester McCoy about doing animated streaming stories.
That I did not know.
That I did not know. That's a rumor. That's a rumor. And that they're looking at talking to the other doctors that are still alive, that in order to come in and lend their voices. The BBC America adapted one of the doctors that they didn't have video on, that they had audio of. I keep forgetting his name. The one that looks like Mo. It's not Troughton. It's not Pertwee. It's the one in between there. Anyway, they did a whole multi-episode show with animated.
Right. Well, hold that thought, because we don't know who Glenn is. Tell the people who you are.
Everybody knows who I am. I'm just trying to work out how I can follow Rich's introduction there. Anyway, my name's Glenn Fleming. I'm a writer, artist, and publisher, and I've written many books and magazines and published books and magazines on different subjects. I did 40 years in illustration and graphic design. I currently publish a magazine called Comics Unlimited, which is here. And this is number 1, but issue 9 has just gone up on sale on Amazon. And I'm currently producing book 2 of my comic guy Hatch. That's book 1. I am the author of this book about Jack Kirby, which details my visits to his house. a couple of times in the late 80s, early 90s. And with that book, you get a DVD and you can see and hear me talking with Jack.
Yay.
On Thursdays, I do a Comics Unlimited podcast with Ted Davis on Ted Davis Artistry at 10 o'clock EST and 3 o'clock GMT. That's it. That's me.
We lost.
Where'd Randy go?
Randy, lightning strikes in his area. So while we're waiting for Randy, so let me introduce myself. Hello, everybody. My name is Daphne Lage, and I am a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I've been self-publishing comics since 1992 because I have nowhere else to go. And I am known for the funny animal fantasy adventure Tall Tales and my medieval fantasy soap opera Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn. And I am also co-host with Nita Lanning on the Raging 2 the blogs every Monday and Friday on the Raging 2 network. And in the meantime, and you can, in the meantime, you can read both my comics online at Tall Tales, TAILSonline.com and EagleWorks.com. And you can check out all my videos on how I make my comics at my own channel at Daphne Lage Art. And again, welcome everybody in the chat. Welcome everybody that's watching us right now. While you're here, go to that subscribe button, give it the gentlest of taps so that you can subscribe to our channel, and then smash that bell, because, we love the ringing sound, and that you can know every time we go live. So, hello. Welcome.
Smash the button. Yeah. Apparently, my cable company's deciding to use Sunday morning as a update time.
Oh, okay.
Suddenly, everybody started grinding, and then I had to jump out and get back in. So hopefully, it'll stay.
Well, hopefully, as long as it wasn't. Yeah, I know. Right?
Atrocity says, Randy says, "Fuck you, I'm out."
It's like enough of you guys.
Enough of you guys.
Yeah, but yeah,
I don't blame him.
I think you had some crazy storms, or at least there was some crazy storms going on yesterday. So
that was yesterday and day before. Yeah, we had a tornado actually run through Gaylord, which is about an hour and a half north of me.
Right.
In Michigan, where tornadoes never go.
Right. Well, now someone told them that it was nice. It was nice to hang out there. So now they went.
They almost wiped out the whole town too. So.
Yeah,
which is pretty crazy. Luckily, there've only been 2 dead, but there's been dozens injured.
Right. Yeah.
They had all of the expressway shut down for a while, and it got pretty crazy up there for a bit. So we hope everybody up there is doing all right. Kurt Kolka is up from that area. He's around Grayling. So there's 2 G cities up there that I always get confused: Grayling and Gaylord. Gaylord's the one that got hit.
So how far away is that from you, Randy?
About an hour and a half north on the expressway.
Oh my God, be careful.
You got to remember, Glenn, everything is about 45 minutes away.
I know.
Yeah, down in England.
Everywhere's an hour away.
Yeah.
London isn't 45 minutes away.
About an hour away.
Not from where I am.
Why, are you in London?
No, I wish I was. Well, no, I don't actually. It's very expensive.
Right, yeah.
It was just amusing a few weeks ago. I said to Randy, but if I drove, you were driving 5 hours south or something, and you wouldn't be out of the state or something like that. I don't know. And I said, if I drove for 5 hours, I'd be in Paris.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing I hate. No, for real. If I drove for 5 hours, I'd be in Jersey. It's like,
if I drive for an hour and a half, I'd be in Ohio. So
yeah, by Toledo.
Yeah, by Toledo. Holy Toledo. Yeah. If I wanted to drive 3 hours, I could be in Indiana.
Right.
That's because I have to skirt all the way across the state in order to get, or Illinois, I should say.
So, Randy, how long would it take you to drive to Texas?
Oh
God, at least 24 hours.
Probably a day and a half. I'd have to stop at a hotel. And
easy.
Yeah, it's like people don't. I mean, the state of Texas. If you were to drive lengthwise, I've heard that you can come into Texas right as the sun is rising, and then you'd be just leaving as it's dark. So it's you really don't get a sense of how large states are here until you have to drive through.
You do when you get the British Isles and you drop it on Texas, you realize how big it is.
Yeah, really.
Not a small place. Texas is not a short jump.
Nebraska is the same way when you travel east to west, only it's all corn.
Uh-huh.
There's Omaha, then there's corn, and then there's Wyoming.
I like corn. Corn.
Hours and hours of corn.
Oh, speaking of corny.
There's Russ. Speaking of corny, here's Russ.
Hello, sir.
Is he asleep? He was asleep.
Good morning,
Oh
sir.
my God! It's like, look, he's got that prison beard going and everything.
Yeah.
Wow, the prison beard. Oh my God, where do you come up with this? This is hilarious.
Yeah. This is art gulag for him.
He just
Love
liked my
it.
goatee a lot. That's all.
Yeah.
Decided to grow one too. Russ, introduce yourself.
Oh, he's muted.
Russ is muted.
He is, huh?
Two
Oh, he
minutes,
can't-
he says.
You
2
can't hear?
minutes. Oh,
No,
no,
I thought that was a double peace sign.
Right. No, he's yeah. So
No,
he
he got it
knows,
the wrong way around.
yeah, he's probably just waiting for his
Deeply
headphones
involved.
to kick in.
Yeah. Could be.
Or either that, or he's in. We're ruining his vibe. That's what it is.
He's here and he can sign language if he has to. It's not like we're on internet radio or anything.
So Rich, what is this piece that you're working on for?
I don't know. I'm thinking of doing something with it.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking of doing something with it. I drew
And
this. I
Sorry,
drew
Russ.
this. So I drew this thing during a one-day convention out in Coventry, and just because I was bored. Really, just because I was bored. And then I posted it on Twitter, and then about like a couple hours later, there was about 100 and something people liking the thing.
Oh, that's good.
And I'm like, well, that's unusual. So I just blurted out. I'm like, hey, who would want to see me turn this into a series? And a few people are like, yes, let's see what you can do with it. And I'm like, oh, all right. So whatever. So this is something I'm toying around with. I'm just getting the look, just having a little bit of fun with them, and if I decide to do something, I'll think of it.
Okay. Oh, so there you go.
Good morning, sir.
Are we better,
Hello.
Russ?
Yes.
We're awake now.
Sorry. The speaker was coming through, and I couldn't work it out, and I thought no, this is just going to turn into terrible echo,
Oh, no,
echo,
yeah,
echo,
yeah.
and I thought nobody wants to hear that, so
Right,
I went away
right,
and sorted
right.
it out.
There, I thought it was Daphne's remark about your prison beard. That
My
Yeah.
prison, it is a prison
Well,
beard. Yes, I have been chained to my drawing board, unfortunately. So
Yeah, because you've been busy as heck for a bit.
yeah.
Russ,
I'm very busy.
Russ, introduce yourself and then tell us about your deadlines.
Yeah.
G'day, sports. I'm Russ Leach. I'm from the UK, and when I'm not shouting at cars, I draw comics. I haven't had quite as long and industrious a comic career as the gentleman Glenn and the Richness. But I've been in and around production and publishing for 35 plus years.
That's amazing.
And I finally got into drawing comics, which is my love, in 2010. And since then, done some work for Marvel and a bit of DC, and I do a lot of Doctor Who. So
Yes.
and I've got my own book as well. And much like the Richness, followed my dreams on my own book. But at the moment,
Paying the bills with other people.
I'm compressed under a mountain of other work at the moment. So my book is coming. It is coming. It's a little late. I'm really sorry about that, but it is coming, and
It's worth the wait.
It will be worth the wait, and everything's really good. So I'm happy, tired, and bearded, but I'm fine. Thank you. That's me.
And Russ is one of the few individuals in the world that can honestly say that he has drawn every Marvel character for Marvel.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I don't know
Awesome.
every,
Almost.
but quite a few.
It feels
Quite
like
a few.
it, right?
It does feel like it from time to time because
Yes.
of the Draw the Marvel Way book I was on. I got to draw a huge selection of licensed characters. So that was a great fun gig. Yeah.
Licensed
I
and
was
even
looking-
forgotten characters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Half of the editors up there at Marvel need to have the test to name all of the characters that you've drawn.
Yes.
But I was looking at you did some posts. I think it was like either Instagram or on Facebook where you were showing off some of these characters that you were doing. I think it was a Green Goblin that especially.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I realized that that this is exactly your Russ-ism. That it's like, you know how it's like you can look at somebody drawing other characters and you can go, okay, I know for sure that this is this artist doing it and that artist doing it. You know, it just doesn't look like anybody could have done it. So this is how I finally know when a piece is definitely a Russ's piece.
Right.
And it's something about the way you draw mouths and teeth.
Right. Okay.
That seems to be like where like your style really pops out. And I was looking at this Green Goblin and I could just see it. It's like, oh, here's Russ.
He's all teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have an obsession. Yeah. No, yeah, thank you. Because it's nice when people say, I recognize that as yours.
Yeah.
Because obviously that's what you're trying to push to.
Uh-huh.
With some of the gigs that I'm on at the moment, which I can't talk about, I do go and look at other people's styles, those people that I'm, that I love. And it's difficult not to sort of go, oh, like Squirrel. That's shiny and bright. I must put that in my own style. It's very difficult to do that. You've really got to try and stick to you because it makes the difference in your work. But at the same time, go and find those other styles and
so
really
does that mean that
improve yours by being impressed by them, by inspired by them. Sorry,
that means if you draw a character with his mouth closed, we won't know you've drawn it.
You won't know it's me. No.
No, you see that's the funny thing. It's like it's when because also it's like when I saw your work on the Shield of the Interceptor. It's like and I didn't realize at the time that it was you. But when I saw the monsters, I'm like going, and again, the mouth.
Yeah, the teeth.
Like, is that Russ?
not them. That's not me. It wasn't me. No, right. the art was me. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yes, of course.
I enjoyed that actually. The Interceptor work. That was very good. JD does some great books. I did a few of his Storm Chasers books as well. Mm-hmm. Probably about 5 or 6 out of the 8. And you can actually, although they're not all, I didn't draw them all in order, which was really weird. So you can go back through them, and if you know the order in which I drew them, you can see my work improve.
Oh, that's fun to see too. Why did you draw them out of order?
Because he was reduxing them. So I started at 5, and then he reduxed 1 and 2. Of one of which I did.
Right.
I think I might have done 1 and 2 or something like that. And somebody else did 3. Then he kept 4. He kept my 5, and I did 6, 7, 8 as well. But 8 is the most recent, and you can kind of see that 8 is the most recent. So.
But if everyone wants to actually see your most recent work, that the Only Death Can Save Us is, I think, is that it? Is that
it's I mean,
yes and no. Yes and no.
Yes and no. There's
all my best work is under NDA.
Yeah. If I would say the current penciling I'm putting in and inking, because I'm very close to the end on Only Death Can Save Us 2, is really some of my nicest work.
Oh, that's nice.
But the gig I can't talk about is probably my best work. I'm sitting here on pencil 10 of a 10-page issue at the moment, and it's without doubt I'm going on and moving up. But the work in Only Death is pretty good. Then there's the work I'm putting into Doctor Who every month, and that's I'm quite pleased with that. There's a surprise coming next month. Because I can't say anything, but it's a fun surprise. If I say anything, it will just completely give it away. But the key is to always draw, just constantly be drawing. This is the only way you get. For you kids. The only way you get better is just by not stopping, just drawing.
Exactly.
Of course.
I mean, it's like for someone like, and it's like for everybody to realize, like for someone like Russ Leach, who's already at this level, still going, oh, this is my best work yet. You know,
you should never. That's the only way to improve is to just say, well, that's that I've got to improve on what I did last time.
Yeah.
It's got to come out better. I've got to seek those seek those styles that inspire me, see what I can put into my work. What are the things, when I look at other people's work, what are the bits that pop out and go, oh, that's clever? And it's not always the big, impressive pages that do it. Sometimes it will be a look from a character, or it will be the way someone's silhouetted or half silhouetted. It's just silly little things that you think,
you've always got to learn. There's always something to see.
Yeah.
And,
so,
and like you said, you should never do your best work either, because there's only one way to go from your best work, isn't there?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so I'm never going to get there. Yeah, never going to get there. So, just keep going. Oh, it's Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Hello.
But I have to ask. I just have to ask this really quick though. So, Russ, what is the one thing you still struggle with, even at where you're at? What is the one thing you still struggle
so thank you very much for making me feel so good about myself.
This question is supposed to make everybody feel good about themselves.
By the way, anyone listening or watching,
Schadenfreude.
if you want to see my work, Instagram really is the place I'm posting everything. I've got an auto thing that goes through to Twitter, but I don't go on Twitter at all.
Right?
Anymore,
No.
Really. And I could kind of bounce around on Facebook occasionally, but most of the time my head's down working. It's the same old. It's like hands are always tricky. Feet as well. If getting feet in just the right angle. Because obviously, anatomy wise, I know how all these things are made up. It's always a balance. I think that's the thing I should be saying. It's not specifically parts of anatomy or things to draw. It's getting the balance between realism and drama and action and energy. Because you want something to fool the eye, you want to make the brain totally engrossed and immersed in the story, but at the same time, you don't want it to be so realistic that people, because it can't be realistic, unless you're tracing all the time, it can't be hyper realistic anyway. Mm-hmm. So you want to have that balance, and it's finding that balance. Every panel, every time I draw, I sit there and think, is there a balance in that panel whereby I'm getting things right, but at the same time it's entertaining to the brain, visually entertaining to the brain. And I think that's the trick. I don't always get it, but that's what I try to do. Ooh. So that I would say is the hardest thing. And that in essence is probably capturing comic book work, that it's about getting that energy across on the page. That's the hardest thing.
Oh, so good morning, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Hey.
Morning,
Hello, Mike.
I just rolled out of a nap, but I was like, there's cool people going on. Might as well join.
Introduce yourself, Mike.
I am Mike Jimmy de Bruin, CEO of Fairies and Ends, a small publisher and a comic creator since 2017. I do mainly the series Live on Cora, but by now, literally everyone here knows me so well. Was
that you yawning, Glenn?
No, it wasn't me. I was yawning now. I don't yawn when people talk.
I think I was Rich giving Mike a hard time.
No, that definitely wasn't me. That was just me breathing heavy. I'm sorry, Mike.
I'm glad to see you find your phone again.
I mean, we know who you are, but there are people.
No, I didn't.
Don't know who you are.
Mike, this isn't. It's not my phone that I'm using. Someone lent it to me. No, I'm not happy that I lost my phone, but I don't care about my damn phone. I care more about you. So what's going on with you, man?
Well, I'm animating for the last week, mainly.
Animation.
How is that? Well, what kind of challenge does that present to you? I mean, animation, I can't get a grasp on it, really. I mean, what's the challenge?
Literally everything you can imagine. It is so much harder than making a comic, and I had plenty of trouble in the last 5 years making comics. But this is a whole new level. I'm only working on the animatics, so they're rough outlines. They're getting the movement down, and there's some points where I'm very proud of. On the other hand, there's way more where I'm like, oh my god, how am I gonna fix this? But I'm learning, so I'm having fun, and I'm just making the intro for the pilot episode of La Vancora, which people have massively voted for the last issue for.
Yes.
To be turned into animation, so that's going to be it. But it's fun, it's busy, and it's a lot faster than you might think.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, I saw like some clips that you were doing, and I mean, I'm really impressed at the smoothness of movement that you. And you're saying that you're only doing animatics, and it's like, are you sure?
Well, no, it is the full animation, but
Right.
the animatic, I mean, as in there's no extra detail. Whoa, they're double.
Uh-oh.
I think we lost one of
Randy
the
is
Zims.
multiplying again.
Oh no, I left.
Oh.
I thought that other one's a ghost.
Oh my God, they cloned Randy.
Right.
Mike, how are you doing your animation?
Include Studio Paint.
Oh my God, I'm looking at this, Mike. This is amazing.
Where is there a
yeah, can we do a share screen?
Look.
Can we do a share screen? On
Yeah,
that,
let me.
Mike,
So-
this is so good.
Let me go and share my screen. For some reason, my second screen dies whenever my computer goes into sleep mode because I got a new PC, so I'm working out the little things. But let me.
While you're doing that, Atrocity Press says if I drive 20 minutes, I'm in Kansas.
Yeah.
Empyrean says I drove from New York to Texas. Every day we pass 2 to 3 states. When I hit Texas, I was driving for 3 more days before I got to Houston.
Jesus Christ.
Texas is big.
This is why I use these things called aircraft.
Yeah.
Right. Well, no, I mean, sometimes you have to drive here. You know, it's like sometimes depending on where you have to go.
I did go across the states on the Greyhound bus. Well, not the same bus, but several buses. That was quite. But it wasn't.
No, I've done that once, and it's a nightmare.
That's brutal. It's brutal.
I did drive halfway across California a few years ago in an RV that was as big as an aircraft carrier.
Jesus.
We did 2,000 miles in 4 days, which wasn't good.
Right.
From Anaheim up to Carmel, then down through Fresno to
Morning,
Las
Joe.
Vegas.
Hope you're doing well.
Morning, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Anyway, Mike, carry on.
Joe.
So I'm sharing my screen. Let me. Here we go. So this is. Oh, there we go. Can zoom in. Woo! So these are not the first scenes, but these are the first scenes with the creatures, and I'm very happy with how the flying animation came out.
Oh yeah, it sure did.
So and you're doing this yourself?
Yeah, this is all me.
Wow.
I'm planning on making a regular show where I just animate for an hour and start explaining things on how I do it.
Oh, I gotta watch that.
I'm talking to Nita to get that working on Wednesdays.
Oh yeah, so I'm gonna have to watch that before or after my stream.
There we go. So this is the next set of streams. And this one isn't done yet, but this pretty much immediately follows the other scene.
So you're doing all the in between in there, Mike? It doesn't generate it for you, does it?
No.
That's
this
crazy.
is literally all me, just literally doing everything.
So is this going to be on Netflix?
Right. Yeah. Well,
no, because Netflix is dying.
Now. Yeah, Netflix has no money.
Well, you know
it's
what
only
I
going to be
mean.
on. Well, the only way that can get on Netflix is if Ryan Reynolds and The Rock and fucking what's her name, Gal Gadot show up on it, and they have Ryan Reynolds vodka on it or some shit.
Right,
like
something like that. You know?
I'd be good with that. Yeah.
You know,
I'd dress Ryan Reynolds up as a furry. That'd be good.
Yeah, no, that.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds.
He probably. Well, technically, he was Pikachu.
Yeah.
I mean, The Rock Johnson would work as a furry. He would not care. He would be totally down.
Absolutely.
Oh God, help
he's
me.
getting paid. He don't give a no.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, he's a total nerd. He's one of us.
Oh,
he is.
He is. He's one of the biggest comic nerds he loves playing D&D. He plays it regularly with friends. And every fantasy movie role, whatever he gets, he just goes in full on, and you see him enjoy it. That's his
look
thing.
at that. Mike, you can't,
the OG.
Got the shout out from the OG.
Yeah.
Hey, John. Yeah, it's like, I have to try my hand at this too, because there are just some things that I would just, like, I was looking into doing those VTubers. Like, there's this thing that I guess is like kind of trendy right now, where people are using like animated like avatars for their YouTube videos.
Yeah, that's VTubing.
Yeah, the VTubing, and boy, that's been complicated though. Like
Yes.
it seems it's easy until it gets complicated. So it's like I don't know.
It also is very expensive to rig, to get the character and then rig them, because it's technically a 2D animation rig. Like everything is connected, and but
Good morning, John Celestri.
if you just want to make, God, why is there a hair in front of my eyes?
Yeah.
You're just showing off.
Yeah.
If you just want to, if you just want to make, your character. If you want to make pre-made videos, you can just make your character have several emotions and flip between them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot easier.
Right.
But yeah, Clip Studio Paint is pretty easy to animate in. From what I found, and I literally had the basics down, and this is literally me using the basics. That's it.
Right. So Glenn, I mean, have you tried animating Hatch yourself, or?
Well, no, not so much. No, but I've been trying to get around to working on that Blender. Blender. But I started doing that this time last year, but everything happened and lots of stuff in life happened, so I put that on hold. But now there's one called Grease Pencil that's in Blender, that I think that's similar to what Mike uses. So I'm going to be looking at that, because I've seen some fantastic results on that. And I'm not saying my work would be fantastic, but I reckon I could give it a good stab, like Mike has. That's excellent.
Right, yeah. I mean, I was like really surprised at it's like, dude.
Literally 5 things to understand in the program, and you can do it.
I always wanted to, like I've said this before, when I went to college, I wanted to be an animator, and it's just about the only thing I haven't worked on in 40 years in doing all this stuff. I've made a couple of little short things for seconds, but never really got around to it. But it's something I'm going to be looking at, very, very soon, clearing out the stuff I've got to get, publishing and at the moment, and be working. So I might disappear for a month or so and just concentrate on that and try and come up with something. But the Hatch, when I created Hatch a long time ago, I saw him as an animated cartoon then.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I think he would work really well in a cartoon, and that's what one of my ambitions at the moment is to produce a 15-minute short featuring him, and then I'll be happy with that, and then progress from there, hopefully. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff there, and seeing what Mike's done there, so I think that's absolutely brilliant. That movement on that guy flying is absolutely fantastic.
I know. It's like, I thought, because when I first saw that, I go, did you get a team to do that? What is that?
Yeah. I mean, who needs John Celestri when you've got Mike Jimmy?
That was 45 minutes of work.
Oh, no. Right.
I'm leaving. There's a fight coming. God.
We love you, John.
That bit of animation was 45 minutes of work. Legit.
How
Oh, yeah.
Well, I always wanted to do all the in-betweens. I'd bored you to death about traditional artwork. I like drawing. I wanted to always do the in-betweens, which is 25 frames. I wanted to animate an hour and a half film, 25, do it all. 10 billion drawings, but obviously it's impossible. But so
we really start here,
right?
And then it's 1, 2, 3.
So what did you do? You scanned those in, and then
no, that's
it.
That's the storyboard, isn't it?
That's just a storyboard.
Oh, okay.
This is scene after scene after scene.
Uh-huh.
And because I'm working so roughly, because I'm literally handicapped to a bamboo tablet.
Right. Oh, well.
I mean, yes.
I've had friends do some amazing stuff on that on those tablets. So and Mike Jimmy froze, but yeah. So everybody out there who is looking, so already you know that Clip Studio Paint can do that. I know that the cloud service Photoshop has a timeline where you can do animation in there. And so, are you familiar with this book?
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I've not seen that. No. I know who Richard Williams is, but I've not seen that book.
Right.
Animator Survival Kit.
Right. So this has, so if anyone who's really interested in, I guess, the principles of animation, this is kind of like the go-to book that has like pretty much everything you need to know about how to animate. Yeah. But I mean, what I think what Mike Jimmy is doing is that he's kind of like, doing animation kind of like using gut feeling rather than principle, and he's still getting the results that he wants.
I think that's a good way to work in a lot of ways. You know, it's not to look. I mean, that Richard Williams is obviously one of the best ever. Right. But sometimes, like we probably all experienced early on in our careers, where you want to draw like Jack Kirby, you want to draw like Gene Colan, and then you realize, you know, you wake up and you think, why, and I can't anyway.
Right.
You know, why would you want to do that? So I would, you know, like I admire what Mike's done there, because he's gone with his gut feeling, like you say, produced that, which I think is superb.
Yeah.
And now we can read Richard Williams' book and go, and tweak it. That's my way of thinking.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, what you got to keep in mind as well, like there's a cat going to come in. Like I have done, you know, nearly 500 pages of comics. Yeah. So I know what angles and directions these creatures take, how their anatomy works. Now it's literally just putting everything in sequence.
Yeah.
You know, and getting the in-between. Well,
you're literally doing the in-betweens. This is the term, isn't it? If you imagine comics as sequential art, which obviously they are, the way we work, we don't see. If you see somebody going through the door, you don't see them going through the door. If you understand me, they're about to go through the door, then they're through the door. And all you're producing is the bit where they actually go through the door. You know, exactly. The in-betweens, and I find that a fascinating thing, and that's the part I want to work on. I think I would rather be in the in-between artist than the main artist who just draws Donald Duck. I want to draw him walking. Do you understand what I mean?
They're doing keyframes.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, and that's the thing, because it's like with a lot of comic art, it's like the best comic art, that, at least in my opinion, are the ones that already look animated. Yeah. Like you can almost see the characters moving on the page.
You can see that in Kirby's work, because he worked in animation first, and you can see it working.
Right.
You know?
And like all of us have that reel going on in our heads, you know, of okay, how will this panel be the most impactful when making our comic? But we see what happens before and after, otherwise the whole scene doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah. And it's just putting that reel on paper rather than just the most intense moment of it.
Yeah.
That is true.
And John Celestri is in the audience. John, since we're talking animation, if you want to come in, send me a PM on Facebook. I'll send you a link.
Yes, please. I'd love to hear your insights.
There we go. Yeah. Now the thing is, so now of course, you know, comics and animation are two different mediums. You know, so when you were doing, so you're converting, you're kind of like translating, and that's kind of what it is. More you're translating, not converting, your work into an animation form, your comic book work into an animation form. What's the biggest difference that you're seeing between doing a comic and doing animation with that same information?
With how much I care about the backgrounds, because right now I'm doing very little about them. It's going to bite my ass later.
Why? Because now it's like you really have to think about the environment, all of the environment, as opposed to just what fits in a panel, right?
Well, you see that in the Disney stuff, don't you? I think they're called onion skins now, but they used to be called ghosts, didn't they?
Yes.
I said this before on a program where there was a TV program I watched where it showed you what they call onion skins now of Snow White coming into the kitchen, and Disney instructed his artist and said everything must move, so she walks through and there's no color, it's just a line, so she's a ghost, which is why they call that, walking through, and all the doors are coming open, all the cups and saucers are bouncing around. So you've got a background artist doing that. So what you're going to have to do, Jimmy, is be two artists. You're going to have to be the main character artist and the background artist as well. And you're going to have to forge a link in your own brain with yourself, talking to yourself as to where things are going to be next to what's behind.
Let me share my.
Well, here's also one more book. This one, I'm not sure if it's still in print or not. I'm pretty sure variations of it are, but it's History of Animation. This is an OG animation book, and it's like, and everything that Glenn was talking about is in here. They have like. They have. I don't want to open it up to.
Don't spoil it. Yeah. Don't spoil it.
So they have like all the different aspects of what they were doing. Like,
Mike, can you draw the?
I have a thing about backgrounds here. Hold on.
The main character, and then put them on top of the background separately, so they both move.
They talk about the backgrounds too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Empyrean wants to know, is that illusion of life?
Yes, it is.
So,
yes, it is.
If you want to see how
the illusion of life,
with a very UV faded, damaged spine. So.
But it worked. Now I'm sharing my screen again, and I actually opened Clip Studio Paint so you can see the work in progresses. So this is one of the last pieces I did. So everything in green is the next layer. Like this, and then the light green, and then the blue is the previous one. And I made it a little less opaque than I usually work with.
Did you choose those colors, or does the computer do that?
The computer went for blue and green, and I see most U's in blue and green, so that's why I kept them. But you can switch them to anything you want.
Right.
But so on the right here, you see I've got one folder literally called Underwater. You got Calais, the main character of Lava Korra 4, the underwater background, which is a little more visible back here. So you can see it all just moving, and it's very rough. Like, I'm not worrying. Then you got the top of the water again. He jumps
you're just
out.
Learning, aren't you?
I'm learning.
That's great.
Can
you play that? Can you play that?
Yeah, totally. Let me see if it's playing every single... Yeah, play all frames. There we go. So it's a little slower than the actual result.
So it said there, play all frames. You can actually... That obviously means that you can knock out the background or the main... Whatever you're doing and just see the different layers playing.
Yes. Right. So I can literally make these invisible, and then all you get is that you play this part. And this is translation, and I turn them back on.
Right.
And they're alive again. So we're going over here. So this is what you saw earlier. Yeah. This is, the Tusker hammering away. And then you go up, you see the trees, and then we dive into the water. And then we got this guy making a jump.
Nice.
That's really
yeah, that looks great.
That's really good.
Right.
You can layer it whatever you want. So the background layers are behind, but if I go to the other scene, to 1, right? Let me see. Yeah. So this is the other one. And if I go to the final end of it, where you have the creature flying, like all of these layers. So the green is the foliage in the front. You have the Tusker, waving. The foreground trees that move out of the way. You got a building on the left, the building on the right, the building in the center, and the background trees. And they all move separately. So these, the little dots you see, are keyframes. And they allow you to move things separately. So that brings back the leaves.
Oh, I see. So got it.
So that is the camera moving. But then Atsi, the main character from Lava Core 1 that you saw flying earlier, she moves separately from everything else. And in that way, you make sure that she always stays in frame. But I can make her bigger too, as she flies out.
Wow.
And suddenly, it becomes her flying.
Wow.
I'm going to undo that because I'm going to hate myself later if I try that again. But yeah, it's easier than it looks. It just takes time to get used to. But honestly, most things you can learn in an hour once you have gone over the tutorials.
Wow.
That's
right.
Yeah. So how long did that entire sequence take you?
I think I've been at the total sum now for about 5 hours. So that is
that's because usually when I hear about animation, they're talking about, I got 3 seconds done in 6 months or something. That's usually what I hear. So
the thing is, what you got to keep in mind, this is only roughs.
Yeah, I'm going to say you got to.
I've done a 1 second animation of Atsi flying around the core that I've shown before. That took an entire day. That was 8 hours of work because every single frame you got to line work. Every single frame you got to color, clean up and get everything further down the road. But when it just comes to this stuff, no, this is the easy part.
Right. Yeah, because I always found animation to be very intimidating. Because I guess it's one of those things that I know too much about it, so it becomes intimidating as a result. And I'm just wondering, what was the thing that pushed you over that hump, where it stopped being intimidating and it's just started being, okay, I can do this.
I just started.
That's it.
I had it in my mind and I just started. It's a matter of keeping
you didn't overthink it. You just thought, I'm going to do this, and you did it. That's great.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's going to look bad.
Right.
So I might as well do it the first time so I can do it better later.
But it doesn't look bad. I mean,
no, it doesn't look bad.
Yeah.
You do realize, Mike, you do realize that we all now hate you, don't you? You realize this, don't you?
It's just I gotta do animation. I gotta create time for this.
Literally,
that's fantastic, Mike.
Yeah, it is.
That first jumping out of the nest, that was half an hour of work. It took getting into that mindset of how do we flip this from comic animatics to actually working. But other than that, it's just having fun. It's very rewarding because you literally I can't press space because it doesn't start working like Flash animation used to. So I have to click the button, but once it does, it's instantly recognizable. Okay, that needs to be fixed, but those are nice.
Right.
Well, I'm really
way
pleased.
Better than the whole picture.
I'm really pleased that I decided to have Hatch with no. It doesn't speak, so I don't have to bother about syncing the mouth to the words.
Sure.
Yeah. There is one point, the first scene that I'm gonna create of this pilot episode, once the entire intro is done, is in Lava Core 5. You have the 3 main characters sitting next to one another as they're crashing down, and one of them is going, "I don't like this. I think I'm enjoying this," and the third one, "I won't even remember this." And I'm gonna, because they all have separate. Completely different emotions being shown, that's the one I'm going to focus on.
Right.
Because that is going to be the challenge. This is the easy part. You know, there's no talking, there's just movement. And I understand movement.
Yeah, because it's like, I'm sure the lip syncing will be. I mean, it just reminds me of, there was I don't know, like some Japanese animation studio where someone there was saying that, like, they found it odd as to how American animation, we're obsessed with lip syncing. And while the Japanese animation studios, they were more concerned about the movement of the characters and not really that concerned about lip syncing.
You know why that is.
Why?
No, you know why that is.
Even I know why that is.
All of these animators, when they were growing up, all sat down and watched Space Angel and Clutch Cargo and said, "I'm never going to do that."
Well, that is okay.
Okay, but here's the thing, right? When you look at 80s animation,
Right.
80s, 90s, early zeros, the 2010s, because digital animation came up and it became a lot cheaper to animate. You have, especially in American and European animated shows, you rarely had the characters constantly move.
Right. Yeah.
Unless you were looking at an animated feature, you know, a full feature-length film, the characters rarely moved while they were talking.
Yeah.
They maybe had an arm move, but that's about it. So
that's very true.
When the only thing on the screen is literally the mouth moving, that is what you're going to focus on, because that is pulling in the attention. But when the entire body is moving and then the background is moving and literally everything is going on, nobody cares about the lip sync.
Right, yeah. Although I think that I remember John talking about like how now animation, especially, well, you know, we were talking about VTubers, where I guess they use a similar technique with a lot of shows now, where it's kind of like they're using AI to almost animate. Like you rig it and then an AI kind of, not that it makes it easier, it's just, you know, that's just, you know, they're using the technology to be, I guess, more efficient.
Do you think maybe it's an attitude towards the art form as well? I mean, I'm just trying to, if you see this from a perspective of American comics and manga, and look at the detail that is now thrown into American comics so often.
Right.
Yeah. But look at the detail that's in manga comics, and I know that there can be detail in there, but it's a much more open style.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a much more impressionist style than say American comics are. So maybe that's something is maybe in the culture or just the way they look at things, that they don't feel the need to lip sync in the same way.
Maybe. I mean, but the thing is though, they have this whole thing with everything has to move. You know, that's the thing.
Yeah,
so
and but exactly like Mike was saying, if everything's moving, you're not focusing on the lips.
Right.
No.
That is true.
So also, you know, I think it just saves them a lot of time. Oh my god.
I've never
Clutch
seen this.
Cargo.
Oh my goodness.
Hang on, Mike. This is Uki.
This is it really is. It really is. This is beyond Uncanny Valley.
That looks like the guy from
Mary
Poppins.
Spinner and Paddlefoot. In another exciting adventure, the mystery of the North Woods.
Jesus Christ.
Highly detailed animation here.
Another chapter in Clutch's adventure notebook. After completing it,
Definitely Mizaki's favorite.
Clutch to please come to Whipple's camp and help solve the mystery in the North Woods. Clutch and company wasted no time and were soon on their way. Frank Whipple and his wife Amanda.
I know we will.
Oh my God!
I don't know what the number is yet, but we'll find out soon.
It's the stuff of nightmares.
There's the landing strip right near the logging camp.
And somebody's in that Jeep waiting for us.
That's Frank, Spinner. I
Now
know
this is the type of effect that you
Check
can do
safety
so
belts.
easily.
We're coming in.
Oh
you
God,
know,
that's
like
so
the annoying orange and you know.
I was about to say.
The one with the thumbs. Do you remember the one with the thumbs?
I know you'd come. Always could count on you.
That's
Oh my God.
oh my word.
Manda'll sure be glad to see you. You're her favorite.
Turn
Hey,
away
come
when
on,
you're
get
talking.
in.
Turn away.
But I mean, also,
Your telegram sounds
Don't you love it?
just
Look at
right.
but the thing is,
Having trouble?
look at how simple
Trouble's
that
a little
animation.
word,
Well,
but I got
animation.
lots of
It's like they're moving,
Mysterious thieving
but it's a
trouble.
lot of shortcuts
Something or
that
somebody
I guess
Yeah.
anybody
stealing more
wants
than
to
half of
try
our
to do
lumber before we
something
can even get it to
for
the
their
sawmill.
You mean the
for
logs are disappearing
themselves.
right off your log
These are
train?
techniques they could just as
No,
easily
Clutch.
use.
That train's so old and so small, she'll only make one trip a day. That's how we get our logs to the sawmill. Float 'em. That river goes through the mountain in an underground tunnel, then flows right past the mill.
Also, I
That's
keep
10
talking
miles
over this
farther
because
on.
I'm kind of afraid we're
Anybody
going to
else cutting
copyright
timber
strike.
near here?
Yeah,
Well,
no,
maybe
exactly.
that's
Like
so
we
handle
might
was,
want to.
Well,
Yeah.
you get the idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
No,
but
totally.
yeah, but it's like we're laughing at how creepy the mouths are. But I think that there's a lot to learn from that. You know, but
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of like little techniques that it's like, oh, wait a minute, like I could do that and I could do that, and you know, like that's something.
Like you
yeah.
said, here in America, we're a lot more worried about syncing those mouth movements
Right.
up with the soundtrack. Probably because we all saw that when we were kids.
Yeah. Probably. That is
Every
funny though.
single time I look at Hanna-Barbera and I still see these techniques. You know, it's cheap,
Right.
fast to create. You
Yeah.
only need a still, you need a moving background, and you need easily animated characters. You know, Hanna-Barbera excelled in that.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Right. Also, just to comment on Nimprod, it's like, okay, so what I said was that even though it's clutch cargo, right, you can learn a lot from, you can take a lot from the simplistic style that they were doing for that. Like I can, it's just still animation and they just faked movement, but
Yes.
you still got a sense of what was going on, and especially now that I've seen people do that with their own comics where they take the panels and they just chop them up and then they start doing like similar things like that, like the Captain America cartoons back in the day.
Oh, I'm calling that up right now.
You know?
Captain Pugwash, Russ, remember that?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I've done the same for. I use the same animation software for my trailers for Love and Korra. You know, it's just copy and pasting the panel and making a couple of keyframes to make it move. You know, and have bubbles appear and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take much time.
Right.
It's just a matter of getting used to.
Yeah.
And once you kind of know what you're doing, you know, it's just once every so many months I make a new trailer, and it takes about a day, and I'm done.
Yeah.
Guys, forgive me for interrupting. My battery is at like 3%. I have
Your stolen cell phone.
Rich,
well, it's borrowed, quote unquote.
When's the Incantessi campaign starting up again?
I will make an announcement during CromCon this weekend.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Rich,
all right,
thanks
thank
a lot
you guys
for stopping by, buddy.
No, thank you, man.
Hey,
And I'll see you guys later.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So okay. So here is
Here's the great Captain America cartoon. Wait, let me rewind it a little bit here.
It's Wanda. Hey, wait for us. My sister. Are you all right? Did they harm you?
No, but I cannot use my hex power through this blindfold.
We'll get you out of there somehow, Wanda.
My shield might loosen those bars.
Save your strength, pal. I've got a better idea.
But
Well,
gotta get
don't
down
just
there.
stand there. Hurry, will you? Relax. I'll just use my flare arrow. Strike it against the wall like a match. Its concentrated heat will melt those bars like butter.
But behind the Avengers, through the vents, an odorless gas is being pumped into the chamber.
I feel like a man in a trance. I can't see. I hardly think. I feel so
No, I'm
Superior
getting
animation at
groggy.
work right there.
Something's wrong. I can't keep my eyes open.
Watching this.
What's happening to us?
Lip sync.
Let me jump ahead a little bit here.
Listen. When that's all the superhero stuff you've got on the telly.
When what?
When that is all you have.
If you want the female Avenger to remain alive. Speak your peace, Commissar.
Anyway.
Oh boy, yeah.
When that's all you've got, it's amazing.
It is.
Yes.
When as a kid, I remember watching those.
Yeah.
And thinking, superheroes on the TV. I was just completely enamored. It didn't matter that it was crap.
Well,
I loved it.
But the thing is, though, we were 9, 10, 11. It's like, I think, I mean, yeah, now that stuff looks ridiculous. But again, it's like I'm looking at it and I'm like going, oh, okay, so they did like this little technique and that little technique, and it's like now it's kind of like you can look at it differently and it's like, okay, how can I apply this? Because it's like I said, a lot of people are intimidated by animation because, again, they're thinking about full feature animation where it takes 6 months to do like 3 seconds. So, but this is the type of thing where it's like I said, you can take panels from your comic and you can kind of like create an animatic from it. You can just, break it up and fill out your backgrounds, and you can kind of like just move the characters and kind of like just do like a very simple thing. Well, I mean, mind you, simple being relative, because it's like you still have to make the effort.
Right, Draco. That's where they got the name, Professor. There used to be a club in Pontiac, Michigan called Clutch Cargo. So the building used to be a church. Yeah.
Wait, so the cartoon took its name from this building?
No. The building took its name from the cartoon.
Okay. Oh, all right. There you go.
But yeah, it's a product of its time, and
very much so. Yeah.
It's still being used today.
Yeah.
There are a lot of webcomic creators that make small reels, and they will do this stuff, and it works because they don't need more.
Right.
Yeah.
I was doing stuff with Flash animation. Back when I was programming. And doing stuff then. So it's easy to do, but it can be laborious.
Yeah, that's
the problem.
That's the difference. Yeah, it's easy, but it's time consuming.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like everything else. It's like everything else. It's easy when you know what you're doing, because a lot of people think that a computer can do anything.
Yeah.
Well, it only does what you tell it to do.
Right.
I saw somebody banging on about digital art, saying that was cheating. It's like, sorry, excuse me. No, it's just a tool. It's just a tool.
Exactly. I mean, even now, there are people who think that digital art is cheating. And it's like, I don't know. Whenever I work on my Cintiq, it's like I'm still putting in the same. I seem to be putting in the same effort.
Still putting in the same line work. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I pencil in on the Cintiq, and then I ink physically. So it's like, well, where's the cheating?
Right.
I don't trace.
Yeah.
Well, everybody traces.
Well, it's reference,
but I don't lean on it. I don't rely on it. That's not the way that I make comic books. So other than that, what? Where's the cheat? I don't understand.
Honestly, I think the people who usually say that are the people who don't do any of this at all.
Yeah.
That's always what it seems like. If they don't do it, they have the most opinions on it.
Yes.
It's usually the people who don't do it who think they can do it.
Yeah. I could do that, but you didn't.
But you didn't.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's like most things. It's like, it's the finished products, isn't it? It doesn't matter how you get there. You get there the way you want to. You know what I think about traditional artwork. That's just the way I like to do it. If people want to do it on the computer, that's great. I'd rather use a pencil and a piece of board. That's just me. But it's what you get at the end of it that counts.
Right.
It doesn't matter how you get there.
Yeah.
Empyrean says Thunderbird's Gary Anderson invented this electronic tripping thing that would sync the puppets to the tape.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
There's a little diode on the bottom lip, and it would make the bottom lip open.
That
was synced up.
Yeah. The voices were played through. One of the wires on the head was to diode, and they would record the audio first of the people speaking, and then they would play it and film, and that would make their little mouths jump up and down.
Golly, Mr. Tracy.
Exactly.
And it's still fantastic.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That was the mechanical part of Super Marionation. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to know something really cool? Earlier this week, I had to move people, and we had to pack their entire house. I found a complete set of the Thunderbirds base, including all the ships.
Wow.
Did you keep it?
No, because it's not my stuff, and it would be theft.
Was that
I don't want to lose my job.
Was that a Corgi set? All of the ships were metal.
Yes.
Wow.
So
that's got to be worth some money.
So you were packing up somebody's collection, pretty much.
Wow.
I saw an Antiques Roadshow one time where somebody had a Penelope puppet, an actual used puppet, and the estimator there at Antiques Roadshow said at least 10,000 pounds.
Wow.
At least.
Was that life size?
That's what he said. And it was small. It was about 18, maybe 20 inches tall.
But it was
beautiful
used
though.
Used on camera.
Yeah, it was used on the show. And the really cool thing that made it for me was that the estimator was drooling over it.
Yeah, that's how you know you have something.
This is art. This is special. Well, they don't put anything on Antiques Roadshow unless it's really good or really bad.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they'll put up something that's totally fake on purpose, just so the curator comes up and says, "But see this mark isn't there. That means it's fake." So, that kind of thing. But the puppet was encased in a like a glass tube.
Oh, okay.
It was just, you could tell it was just beautiful, and they had preserved it for.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I hate it when they bring in stuff. It's like, I found this under my grandma's bed.
Yeah, you get those every once in a while. They had a painting by Diego, and I can't remember his first name. Very famous Mexican painter that somebody literally had in their house behind a door.
Wow.
He was married to Frida Kahlo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. He's got a room. He's got a room
clever.
down here in the Detroit Metropolitan Art that he painted, and then everybody freaked out because he was very political and it was like an editorial cartoon.
Oh my God.
Talking about the industrial complex. But this was
political artist. Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Communism.
Who'd have thunk it? But
Guernica.
This painting had literally been behind a mostly open door for all of its, most all of its existence. They knew the painting existed. They didn't know where it was.
And it's behind the guy's door.
And the curator was just, oh my God, you know what this is? Holy crap,
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Whenever you go in, you never look behind.
No. And it was a pretty big size painting too, and it was of a Mexican migrant worker.
Behind
so it was like
gown.
It's like the gemstone of this person's what the big thing that he's known for, the big thing that he's painted all of his life. And, yeah. So the not the curator but the estimator was just stunned.
How much was it valued at?
I don't remember, but it was a lot of money.
Because
basically
so not a lot of them survived.
Basically, the guy said, you need to keep this from being behind the door again and give it to a museum so that everybody can see it. So
it belongs in a museum.
Yeah. They had another one that brought in a rug. That it was a rug that they were just mounted on their wall or whatever, and the guy put it on a big frame and was drooling over it and told him that it was literally millions.
Oh,
because it was a hand woven Native American rug done in a particular fashion, and they ended up donating it to the Detroit Museum that they put it up on display.
But I remember that episode. The guy was like crying.
Yeah.
He was crying because he wasn't getting any money for it. The other guy.
It's always great. No. Some of them are crying because now they have to insure this thing.
Right.
And they're like, holy crap, where am I going to afford this?
Yeah, it's like, sometimes ending up with valuable pieces is more trouble than it's worth.
Well, that was
also that's why they end up donating it, because then it's like they get the tax write-off.
Yeah.
Because if they were to keep it, they would have to pay the taxes on it and the insurance on it. So it's a whole thing.
That's what happened with Kirby's work, wasn't it? Apart from the copyright problems, they had $10 million worth of artwork or something. Suddenly had to that wasn't declared and it wasn't insured, so they had lots of dilemmas with that little situation.
Right? Yeah, it's weird the way that just happens.
They should have just given it back to Jack and said, "You pay the tax man, the insurance."
I mean,
So, Mike, getting back to your film, are you going to do are you just working on promo films, or are you going to do an animated feature, or what are you going to do with it?
It's going to be essentially an Adventure Time episode, so about 10 minutes long.
Right.
And because every single story in Lava Chorus stands alone anyway, it's going to be a pilot episode. I'm just going to see how I do, what it's going to look like, and dabble around in it. I always wanted to animate as well. Back when I was in middle school,
last week,
Arts and Crafts, they had these, the old early 2000s Macs. The bricks. And they had flash animation on it, so I was always on those things. And so since then I haven't animated anything, and it looked really bad back in the day because I had no idea what to do with it. But by now, because I've got stories that I've published, that I've made, I know what to do with myself.
It's just another tool, isn't it, that you've discovered that you can make something with, which is fantastic. That flying part was absolutely incredible, I thought.
Yeah.
I just think it's really great. I mean,
it's just like, and that's the thing. It's watching you do that is making me go, oh snap, I really can do that.
Yeah.
But not in a I could do that kind of way, but it's like I can do that. It's kind of like it adds a certain accessibility to.
You know what's going to happen? What's going to happen now, Mac, is that we're all going to disappear for a month, and we're all going to come back with little films.
We're all going to try and one up one another,
right?
Except Russ, because he's too busy on Doctor Who.
Yeah,
except for Russ. Exactly.
The first thing that popped into my head was, I wish I had time to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like you have to.
So do I.
Randy,
I know you just have to cut the time and do it.
Time for what we want to do. If in the end, if it's not, and it's okay if it's not something that you want to do, but you want to be impressed by Mike Jimmy doing it, that's okay.
What do they say? If you want something, give it to somebody who's busy.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
If you want something done, ask a busy person.
Yeah. Yep. Randy, you were earlier on. You were mentioning Doctor Who, and you were going to ask Russ a couple of things. Do you want to?
Oh no! I was just gonna catch him up on the latest gossip.
Oh, okay.
I know nothing.
No big deal. You know nothing.
It's from Barcelona.
Nothing.
Well, Russell Davies is supposed to come in and be the
that's right. Yeah.
Kevin Feige of Who.
RTD got given the rights by the BBC. I think part of his this is called common knowledge or common gossip. The common gossip is that he went to the BBC and said, "Oh yeah, okay, I'll do it. Okay, I'll come back and I'll do it. But I get to control everything." So he has full editorial control. But as I understand it, his studio, is it Bad Wolf Studio, was bought by Sony.
Yes.
So effectively, Sony is now the money behind Doctor Who.
Yep.
Wow.
So Sony are really keen to make cinematic universes because much like when Killing Joke and The Watchmen came out, everybody thought we've got to remove superheroes because obviously that sells. Sony now think that they have to do that. Maybe it will work, maybe it won't. I mean, from my perspective, I hope it does work because I'm working on it. So I hope it. Yeah,
selfish involvement.
It is very selfish. And I hope they produce some good stuff. More power to them. Get on, make some stuff, and I'll get some more comic strip work. You never know.
There you go.
If they
might be able to draw a wide variety of doctors at this point.
Exactly. Yeah. If they increase the if they increase the readership on Doctor Who magazine, because it's always had a core readership, it's very popular. But if they improve the readership, then maybe I get more pages. At the moment, I'm just doing 6 pages a month. Maybe I get to do 10 pages a month. That would be cool. So I'm always keen to see people try and do new things, take things in a different direction. I know there's directions and there's directions, but gotta give everything a chance.
Wow. Yeah, like you just want them to make a good product.
Yeah,
you like what they do. Yeah. You like what they've done. Just because you don't like what they're doing right now.
I'm pretty much I get on and I do my work.
Right.
There's plenty of stuff there's plenty of stuff in the past that I have liked and have not liked from lots of different places, and that was when, let's say, populism would suggest that they were on a high, but there were still things I didn't like. It happens. Everybody's got opinions. Everybody's got likes and dislikes, and just get on and see what you can get out of it. I like I say, I can't say anything about this month, but I got to do something really neat for Doctor Who magazine. It is a really cool thing. So there's always good ideas out there. You just got to track them down.
When is that particular episode coming out?
I think that's coming out. That went to press early this month, so it's probably coming out at the end of the month.
Oh, good.
Ooh.
Good.
Right. So
it won't be much longer before it'll be all right for you to talk about it.
To talk about that one, yeah. Well, it'll be out. I can show you it. The other stuff, it's. I think I'll.
It'll be a while.
I'll put out something there. The first issue of the other stuff I'm doing is, I think, in May in Italy. So there you go. It's a pan-European thing. So.
Worldwide.
It's going to be all over the place.
It's going to be all over 4 countries anyway.
4 is better than none.
Exactly.
By the way, if you want to see me create that little flying part, I actually did that live last week.
That's cool.
It's on my YouTube channel, just my Jimmy Lortia de Bruin, and it's called Hung on Animation #1. And I'm probably going to make that a regular show on Wednesday nights.
Cool. That's cool.
Right. Sweet.
Right.
Not too late on Wednesday nights.
No, only 7 p.m. for me.
Okay.
So
which is what, about
1 p.m.
1 p.m. Yeah. So that's the afternoon for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, definitely gotta make a habit of watching it.
Yeah. Well, that'll be right before Daphne's show.
So I'll get to prep my show while watching his.
There we go.
Can't miss Daph's show.
EagleWorks.
EagleWorks.
Yeah, go to eagleworks.com and there's a link to my YouTube channel. So.
I got right point
right
there.
Yeah. Well, actually, we stream and I stream through the RAGIN 2 network too. So you can also, as long as you're subscribed to the RAGIN 2 network, you're not going to miss it. So.
Right.
Exactly.
And it's archived over there as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All the Zimcasts are over there too. All of the relevant Sunday funnies are over there. There might be a few more classic episodes added eventually. We'll see how it goes. Right?
Have you got to edit those down?
Oh, I'm not. It's Daphne that's doing.
Yeah, it's like I only have the 3 so far. It's very time consuming.
Yes, I'm sure it is. Yep.
But these are I think that our best 3 episodes though.
I have to say so.
Yeah, this is the Arrow comics with Ralph and Stu. There's the Dan Fogel, which is my favorite, honestly, out of the 3. And
Trina Robbins.
And Trina Robbins.
Oh yeah,
the Trina Robbins.
Yeah.
And then Dan Fogel, who does Fogel's Underground Guide or Guide for Underground Comics. We had him on for a show.
I mean, he's like, because it's like I wasn't like. it was just one of those things, just the way he talks about underground comics, that it's just like, it's not really a thing that I was into, but he made it fascinating. So it's like, if you think underground comics is not your thing, listen, just listen to Dan Fogel talk about it, and then it's like, you can learn some, definitely learn something.
Again, it's another avenue of sequential art. Just another time period there where people were doing some very creative things and some not so very creative things. So.
But that's always, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
it's always with every branch of this art form.
Yeah, because I mean, even now it's like there's like I guess it's like it's not underground as much as it's crowdfunding now. I guess that's I guess that would be the overall.
Well, it's all one great big chain. I'm working on a comic history book where I go through and explain it. If the undergrounds, literally, if EC Comics hadn't existed, if Kurtzman hadn't gotten the experience he got, Undergrounds would have never existed. If Undergrounds never would have existed, the direct market would have never existed. If Undergrounds had never existed, the alternative and independent boom that you saw in the 70s and 80s would have never existed. And a lot of these properties would have never come out, like Cerebus and ElfQuest. And my big favorite is Moondog. It only lasted 3 issues, but it was a phenomenal strip that George Metzger did. And I don't know where George is now, but I wish I could find him. If he's still alive, I would love to interview him because I love his stuff. But there's just so much of this that's interconnected in this art form that it's amazing. To me, it's fascinating.
Yes.
It's a really fascinating subject to me, just on how everything is so linked.
I mean, that whole thought kind of is actually kind of frightening. The idea that technically, if these things didn't happen all those years ago, we wouldn't be here talking about it. We wouldn't be here doing it. I mean, it almost sounds a little fatalistic, but I mean, is it really that literal?
Yeah, but there's also, like the direct fandom wouldn't have existed if Marvel hadn't gotten everybody involved in the 60s, because at the time DC was pretty flat, and Stan Lee came in and added all these soap opera elements to the writing and went out and found the best talent that he could, just like Bill Gaines did with EC, and he later did with Mad. He just was able to find, whether it was luck or his eye or his ability, to find the right people to do the right things at the right time. Because Stan was running around like a chicken with his head cut off trying to run this company. So he was relying upon the visualists to literally do the comics for him. And all he was doing was putting, not all, but what his contribution was putting words into these characters' mouths that were already drawn. And he had enough sense to go out and find these hardcore veterans that knew how to do a 20-page story, that knew how to do structure, so that all he had to do was call them up over the phone and say, what do you want to draw this month? Okay, that sounds cool. Click. And then they went off, and Kirby went and did, pretty much the whole, that's how they found the Marvel method for writing, was literally because Stan was working the company at the same time that all of the other visualists were creating.
Right. I mean, that's it. That's an interesting. I mean, it's like, because I'm kind of like still horrified at the thought, but at the same time, it makes complete sense, because honestly, if it wasn't for me finding that Rocket Raccoon in a supermarket of all places, I don't know if I would have been doing this. I don't know if it would have put me on the path. I would have been put on the path any other way. Like
Gaines deciding to do more intellectual comics. He basically turned EC from picture stories of the Bible to doing comics that he wanted to read. And he had older, more sophisticated tastes, obviously. So he started horror and crime and science fiction and all of these other more intellectual stories, other than fighting Nazis or basic spies, communists, and all of that. And that led into also again, just like Lee, right place, right time, right talent. Finding these visualists that were just superior in their field to go through and do these top-notch books. That sprung the Comic Code Authority, which sprung the literally the dumbing down of certain comics, which started the black and white movement, which left the people that were working at EC struggling to find work, Kurtzman is on the West Coast, bumps into the this cadre of underground hippie artists, basically, at the in San Francisco, and starts printing their work in Help. And even though Help only lasted a half a dozen issues, did Trump, the magazine Trump, which lasted maybe 11 issues, but he was printing all of these underground artists and gave them the confidence in what they were doing to start publishing their own work. Then they were circulating that work through the head shops, the drug paraphernalia stores, or anybody else that would circulate those books with them. And once drug paraphernalia became questionable as far as sales go, they started concentrating on comics. And then the direct distributors to get that product to the stores turned into the direct market, like Bud Plant. And, all of the direct distributors at the time were circulating those black and white books, the magazine books, out to these bookstores and head shops that wanted to carry them. So, and that sprung the alternative market. Then you had people doing their own books like Ismet the Dog Avenger and Elf Quest and Cerebus all sprung from there, which started the alternative. And everybody else said, hey, I can do black and white comics too. So you saw that boom in the mid 80s that led to people coming in and corrupting the system with greedy, stupid books, which led to the black and white bust. The retailers couldn't sustain it. And then Image started and everything. It's all, like I said, all one great big, very interesting chain. But
so is there? Here's my question to you. Do you have that one thing that you can pinpoint your involvement in comics in, that if that didn't happen, you would have ended up a truck driver or something?
Well, it was probably, and I don't mean to bring the show down at all, but it was probably my parents' repression of telling me what I could or couldn't read that really brought it out to me that, I'm not supposed to be reading this stuff. Well, why not? So then I started reading and doing the research, and, I knew more about superhero comics than probably most of the people or kids around me before I even bought my first superhero book.
Well, that probably says more about you, Randy, than it does your parents, though.
Denied me yeah, maybe.
It does. It does.
They denied me that stuff, so I needed to read. I needed to know about it.
Yeah,
but I'm that way about their religion too. So I started reading everything about their religion and walked away from it when I was 17. So
think about all the kids who were told by their parents the same as you were and didn't go and read the books. So that says more, to me, that says more about you.
Yeah, maybe.
So you should take credit for that, because that's you.
They're literally they kept me sane. It was Barks, Carl Barks, and the stuff I could buy at the time kept me grounded and made me want to do comics. That's why that's all I do. That's really my main interest, my main passion is doing sequential art.
Mm-hmm.
So how about you, Glenn? Do you have a moment that you can pinpoint as if it wasn't for this, I wouldn't be doing that?
I don't really know how to answer that, but let me tell you an experience I had when I was almost 5, and I can pinpoint I can say that because I know the dates. This was November 1959, because this is when we moved into this house. This house I used to live in. It was a cottage, an old cottage, a listed building. We lived in this house, and when we walked in, and I can remember this, and I'm just nearly 2 months off being 5. When we walked in, nobody had lived in this house for 20 years, right? So that's since the war. Nobody had lived in it since before the war. And so whoever was in there, either the person, I can't imagine it was the person who lived there, it must have been some kind of squatter person. They had there was no wallpaper on the walls, but they were all plastered, and somebody drawn all these like townscapes as big as the wall, on every wall in all the rooms in the house.
Wow.
Yeah, they'd drawn, like these
like almost like murals.
Yes, yeah. Russell know what I mean. You know the up in Yorkshire, Russ, where there's all those terrace houses that go down the hills.
Yeah,
that kind of thing, like cottages and things like that. And these
a Hovis advert.
Yes, exactly. But these guys won't have seen that. Yeah.
No.
So yeah. And that's my first. I think that must have done something to me. And then from then, I was always drawing. Because my dad, I said, we were all shocked at this, and my dad said, somebody's drawn this. And what the first thing he did was wallpaper it.
Right.
Because we were going to live there. Because we were going to live there.
Okay.
And then
There's
later,
an alarm going off somewhere.
Later it was replastered, so that's gone. All that stuff is gone. But I think that had some kind of effect on me. But when I first started drawing comics or drawing, was later, 6 or 7, when I was at school, and Dan Dare was coming out, and Stingray and Thunderbirds and all those things, and then TV21, and then you know the story. My brother brought Strange Tales home. And I thought, wow. And I could already draw a bit. I was always the best at drawing in the class. Now, that might have been really bad, but I was the best bad person at drawing, right? So that's where it's gone. It's the only thing I've ever done for all my life. Like, I write a lot, as you know, but I didn't start writing until later, actual writing. Although I must say I did write my first book when I was 8, and it was 20 pages long about Stingray. So 20 pages for an 8-year-old isn't bad, is it?
Stingray.
Yeah, that's the one.
If you haven't seen Stingray, it's available. I'm sure there are episodes available on YouTube or Hulu. I believe has the entire Gary Anderson Super Marionation.
You've got to watch it. It's absolutely brilliant.
And you will fall in love with a puppet.
Yes.
You'll never know puppets were so good.
Well, if you listen to Gary Miller sing in Marina, that really even now gets me. And I was only 9 when that came out, and I thought I'm gonna
Marina.
No, that's West Side Story.
No, it isn't.
It's Maria.
Marina.
Not Marina.
Yeah, but I think you're singing West Side Story.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It does. So I'm going to have that Marina played at my funeral because it's
my brothers used to get up before school and watch Thunderbirds.
Yeah,
and they'd sit there with notebook paper and do all the schematics on all of the ships.
Oh wow!
Draw them all out, and I was really mad at them too because they took over my sandbox and turned it into Tracy Island. It was irritating.
There was Daphne. There was a guy at school when I was about 8, and he was called. I won't say his name. He moved to Australia. Anyway, he challenged me to a drawing contest. And he said, so I said, what do you want to draw? And he said, a football match, a soccer match, with a goal being scored. Right. So we went away and we drew this thing. And I brought mine back, and you could see the men. He was heading the ball was coming, and they're all jumping up, and he was heading the ball, and the goalkeeper was diving. And you could see there were men doing this, and you could see the goalpost. And his drawing was like the entire pitch with little stick men on it, right? And he still reckoned his was better than mine, and it clearly wasn't.
I know.
You know what I mean? So that's one of my earliest challenges.
Some people are just delusional. That's
just
the way it is.
Yeah.
I was told by my I've told this before. I was told by an illustration tutor at college not to bother because I wasn't very good. I should just go.
I think we've all had that happen to us at one point.
It was just like go and do design because you're not very good at illustrations. Off you go.
But I mean, but was that your catalyst? That's where you can pinpoint, or
no? It's difficult to pinpoint anything specifically. It's just comics.
Yeah,
it's just comics. It's just earliest memories. Stalker from DC, a Stalin.
Stalker. Wow, that's a hard cut. You're talking Steve Ditko and Wally Wood.
Yeah,
Stalker. Yeah,
back in the day. That was my first ever comic I was given by my mum and dad.
Wow.
Oh wow!
I remember a.
Is that the comic book equivalent of taking a 4-year-old to see Alien?
Probably.
Probably not quite. Yeah.
But they just gave me the comic. They just went, there you go. I remember my mum had drawings. My mum kept drawings that I'd done when I was like 5 or 6 or whatever of Stalker with the green tunic and everything.
Yeah. That's such a deep cut. Nobody probably in our audience has even seen the book, let alone know what it is. Yeah.
And then
I think it only lasted 6 issues at DC back during their Barbarian period.
Yeah. It was. There wasn't much. It was issue 1 as well. And Adam Warlock, the early run with Starlin, completely bonkers stuff.
Yeah.
And then after that, it would be Captain Britain, which is like Marvel UK, some of the Titans stuff. But you know, the Titans, the sideways reprints of Spider-Man and Avengers and stuff. Some Robbins. He's like the guy Robbins, the illustrator.
Frank Robbins.
Some of his stuff I remember, and then moving on from that into Marvel UK with
Frank's
Captain
got
Britain.
a style that's very unforgettable.
All his own, and it's not very fashionable, but I love it. It's fantastic. And then added on to that, compiled onto the top of that was Star-Lord in 2000 AD. So it's kind of like it's a compendium of all those things that kind of said, this is what you must do. You love this. You must be involved in this somehow. So so rather than one thing, because like Glenn, I was always drawing as a kid.
I don't think you get a choice. You don't get a choice. You just do it, don't you?
And my mum was always encouraging me, and I was like Glenn, I was like best in the class and all the rest of it, and I did my stuff at school.
It's an evolution. For me, it was the Marvel cartoons, what we were looking at earlier when I was a kid, Batman with Adam West and Burt Ward, and being young and impressionable, really young and very impressionable at the time that first came out. That was my mom's reasoning to my older brothers why I was allowed to buy superhero books, and when growing up they weren't allowed to buy them, was because you had that Batman show. He was too young for that, but I remembered it. I remembered it all. And then Thunderbirds on television, and the Hanna-Barbera superheroes, those great characters that Alex Toth designed. Just love those.
I'll tell you the story of
Batman,
from there. Of Adam West Batman, didn't I? When we used to go to my parents come from a place called Sheffield in Yorkshire, which is about 50 miles from me. I'm in Lancashire, and we used to go over to see my Auntie Connie and Uncle Sam every weekend. And for the first series, I didn't see the second half, same bat time, same back channel on the Sunday, because my Auntie Connie wouldn't let me watch it. So it took, I watched the whole series, the first series, without knowing what happened. And it was up until 20 years later when they rerun them on Saturday morning when I watched them. And I told her, and she thought it was the funniest thing she'd ever heard.
I'll tell you what.
She asked me what I'd been doing. I said, "Been watching Batman. You remember all those Batmans you wouldn't let me watch?"
Yeah. I'll tell you what happened. Batman escaped.
Yeah,
barely. Usually something out of that belt did it.
So
that's all right, Robin. I carry bat repellent.
I know exactly where I started.
Yeah, you can pinpoint it.
Yeah, no. So in 2016, I made a concept piece about an owl fighting a dragon, and it stuck with me. And I started writing it originally. It was going to be a fantasy epic. So 2017 rolls around. I get a girlfriend that sadly had to go back to America. And that was literally just heartbreaking because the guy that was supposed to take care of her visa never did. So suddenly she was illegal. So you can imagine how rough that is when you're doing a healthy relationship and suddenly, that breaks up. So we both felt awful. And things just weren't working out in long distance, obviously. And so we broke up, and I just needed something to get my mind off of things, so I started a comic.
Wow. So it's like, pretty much tragedy.
Yes, no, tragedy. Drama.
Imperium
never looked back, and
Stalker rules. To this day, I rescue issues of Stalker when I find them in the cheap bins. Same with Ditko. Shade the Changing Man issues. Yeah.
Somebody said something to me about Ditko and said, I recognize him in your work. And it never occurred to me at all that there would be any of Ditko in there at all.
Well, all of that we looked at is impressionable. Yeah.
But so I went and looked at a lot more of it and realized that there was some in there. You could kind of see where the influences were.
Well, I keep telling you
from a very young age. So.
I see a lot of Gil Kane in the stuff that you were doing.
Gil Kane is fantastic. I love Gil Kane. But thank you, by the way, to be compared to
just
any
being
of
honest.
those, any of those people.
Oh yeah,
any of those greats.
Absolutely.
And they were all, you know, I talk a lot about John Buscema because he is my favorite, but they were all of those guys. You know, I mean, obviously with Neil Adams passing, Neil Adams was a massive influence on me, and you can't necessarily see any of him in there. It's just it's like Brian Bolland is a massive influence on me, but you can't see any of him in there. But there's you take these things, you look at these people's work, and it inspires you not necessarily just to try and be them or to copy them, but to get the essence of why their work is so damn good. What is it that makes their work so good? And those are the things that you're trying to extract and put into your own. And if you're fortunate, you get to do a little bit of it. I got the Brian Bolland Apex book. Oh, wow.
Everyone's doing the reach. Oh, big stretch.
Hard reach.
Don't break anything, please.
I got one from Desperado, I believe, of Boland's work, but also one of my favorite artists of the last 20 or 30 years.
Nice.
Yeah, very nice.
I wish I had the room to collect those books.
Look at that.
That's just so good. Look at the inside.
That's like the IDW showcase books, isn't it?
Except full size. So this is full size Brian Bolland, Judge Dredd.
Oh man!
Oh, wow!
I love how even at that size, you know, because it's not blown
I'm
up.
gonna
hang on. Still make
but again,
make them big.
But again,
what
you do, what you find, is that however detailed it may look or it may come across as, all the lines are. There's so much economy. He knows exactly what he's doing. So absolutely, that's a wonderful book, and I got the same.
That's amazing.
The equivalent size of Buscema, John Buscema as well.
Okay.
So, fantastic books. Fantastic.
I know they've been advertising on Facebook an art of Carlos Esquerra. That I've been wanting to get. That 2000 AD is kicked out. It just looks.
I'd say I'd like to see that size of Cam Kennedy's work on Rogue Trooper.
Yes,
and Judge Dredd. That'd be something.
Well, there's so many. Go ahead.
Again, his work is the same. Cam Kennedy. You look at his work, and it's got like Carlos Esquerra. He's got a lot of texturing in his work, and it's quite rough to look at. Or Mike Mahone, or Kevin O'Neill. It's like you just look at these works, but when you actually drill down, the reason that they're so good is because lines are used. They're not just thrown away. They're not just thrown in there because let's fill that in. It's not just detail for the sake of it. It's like real quality. They know exactly what they're doing with their lines. Any of those.
I consider Pat Mills, who was running 2000 AD, especially at the start, right at the same level as Stan Lee and Bill Gaines, with the ability of being able to find the best talent at the best place at the best time. Because of all of those people, all these careers that he literally started. It's just phenomenal, just unreal. The quality of people that he was able to find. That have their own individual styles too, which is really great because you can look at Cam Kennedy and know it different from Ian Gibson, know it different from Carlos, know it different from Brian, but it's great quality stuff all the way through.
And you've got
with a group of people with their own individual looks and styles.
And you have to realize there's a thing called talent in there as well, because Pat Mills created just about all the girls comics in England when he was 22. So how long had he been practicing? Not very long. Well, he was only 22 when he was writing those stories.
No, but so many of those 2000 AD artists just came straight out.
Because they're good. They're good.
And every time you talk about economy of line, I always remember Will Eisner being up my ass back in the about stop trying to do hickey lines. They don't mean anything, because everyone at the time was imitating Todd McFarlane and the Image guys, but especially like for me, it was Todd McFarlane. And Will Eisner was hated the fact that I kept trying
at that point, a lot of those artists were adding those lines intentionally just to look like McFarlane, and they really didn't mean anything.
I was doing the same thing.
Yeah,
but you go through and
they don't mean anything.
Yeah, you go through and you look at some of these artists that do use those lines and know how to texture.
Right.
Virgil Finley, Carlos Esquera, those people who are able to take that what most people would consider a scratch and just give it.
Let's face it, amazing. Jim Lee started that in the 90s, and he is now like the Jim Lee you could ever be. Right. But his art is still beautiful, and it still has economy of line in it. Right. It's still everything he does has meaning. Something.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And it's like, and even now it's like, so back then, because I was like a little asshole. I was like, I'm fucking old man. What do you know? So
what do you know, old man?
What do you know?
But now it's like but now it's like, okay, what does this line mean? Now it's like, okay, where is this line going? What am I doing with this line? When you know what lines are, they're easier to ink.
Yes.
So it's like, so that's every time I hear economy of line, I always think of that. So
it's the other thing is if you're gonna load your panels or your stories out with a lot of detail, or with a lot of things, not a lot of detail, with a lot of things, then the more detail you pile in there, the muddier it gets.
Right? Exactly.
So here I'll just show you this from Doctor Who. This is a few months old now. Oh God.
And also you got to remember too, it's like most people are going to spend 30 seconds per panel or something like that. So it's like, what do your lines mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh. That is such a Russism. Racism.
So there you go.
That's another thing that Russ does that makes me go, that's Russ.
So again, it's like there's not huge amounts of texturing going on in here. There's just enough so that you can pick the differences out between some metal or some cloth or whatever. And then I did the same. Had to be done in a slightly smaller scale because I had other characters talking and doing different things at the end there. So, too much. Obviously, this is my style. So there'll be other people who have styles that have got finer textures, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Say, putting more texture on the horse's face there and that kind of thing, or putting more texture into the shadowing on say that fish monster's side.
Did you get a nasty email from the letterer? On this? I'd be like, where the heck am I going to place a word balloon in this?
To be frank, that's not my problem. I put the people.
Yeah.
That deserves a bell. Yeah.
I put the people in the panel where they're supposed to be. Right. It is your problem as an artist to try and give the letterer the appropriate places to put things as far as following the script is concerned.
Right.
So the first person to speak in the panel should be either on the left or higher than everyone else. Okay. So that you give the flow. Outside of that, I have to do what the story tells me to do. And if the story tells me load the panel up with lots of aliens, what am I going to do?
Right, exactly.
Some poor alien's going to have their face covered with a bubble, aren't they? So,
right, but as long as it's not an important character, you should be okay.
You should be fine. So, I mean, I can show you the color on that.
Here's the thing that I notice immediately as someone who loves to ink as well. The detail, all the lines are roughly the same thickness. Like there's not much line variation, but your uses of blacks and white, there's a lot of power to simplicity. That's what a lot of creators tend to forget, like imply texture more than actually putting it in, because you're just going to cut your own fingers.
I mean, it's important. Line widths are important, okay, but you shouldn't rely on just thicknesses to get your distances involved. I mean, you have got slightly thicker lines at the front, slightly thinner lines at the back, but at the same time, you still have to put shadow in. Like there's this guy at the back here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't draw that person in.
And also that's a phenomenal. That's really in my mind, that's a great coloring job because it pulls your eye right to where it's supposed to go.
Well, that's
and the way that all the characters, all that crowd fades into the background. So the letterer really shouldn't have a problem.
I like the way the on that previous one there, where the blue was on the guy's spear that matched the blue in the foreground. And it
give it that color balance.
Can you see it? Yeah, it gives you that balance.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
But Mike,
just a great coloring job.
Mike Summers did the coloring on this.
It's so it's great to see a colorist who knows how to color.
Yeah.
You know, who's got a grasp of color theory. Yeah. Those people are very few and far between and really need to be appreciated more.
Mike Summers is like the permanent colorist on Unstoppable Comics.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been working with Mike for a long time. And when the opportunity for me to get colors done through in Doctor Who, I jumped at the chance to give him the opportunity to do something more mainstream.
Sure.
And he's absolutely turned it on. It's been brilliant. I've got another colorist for the other job I'm doing, and it's really weird because it's a completely different colorist style.
Mm-hmm.
So Mike is using grads and clips and what have you, and the other colorist I've had has been painted, so it's a very painterly style. And it's really weird looking at the way your line work changes depending on how they approach the kind of coloring that they do. So yeah, it's been good fun the last few months actually. So, and then of course the coloring on Only Death is really retro, flat, like flat colors and just shades, and that's complete. And I've actually had my daughter coloring that. So it's
everybody works.
Everybody works. Everybody works, or you leave.
Where there's a whip, there's a whip.
Unfortunately, my cat can't color.
Wow.
No.
No.
I keep telling my cat to get a job.
They do whatever they want. That's it.
Yeah.
Randy, you probably found that the cat can colour. You're just not feeding him enough.
Yeah, exactly. Not enough wet food.
Oh yeah.
The cat can colour. It just ain't doing it.
Yeah.
Russ, tell people how they can find you. Yeah.
You can find me mostly on Instagram. So you go to russleach.com or comicbookblackbelt.com, depending on where you want to go through. But russleach.com, and all my links are there. You can most days I'm posting something on Instagram, but you can find me on the Twitter and on the Facebook as well. And obviously I have a YouTube channel. There are videos up there of my process and stuff I've done, but I haven't done much lately. But that will change soon once I get myself back into some kind of format. But you can also go to onlydeathcansavus.com and find out more about the book there.
Great. Mike, Jimmy, tell folks how they can find
me
you.
On my Linktree, and it's been updated to have the Radiant Side 1 on Kickstarter, which is on pre-launch right now. So be sure to sign up because, we need more Korean drama romances in the world. It's nearly done too. So I'm really happy with how it's actually going. It's looking beautiful, but I've been pushing it off. And we're late on the Indiegogo campaign, but we're going to bring it to Kickstarter. The book is going to be printed during the campaign, so you're immediately going to get your books.
Cool. Go ahead and tell folks how they can find you.
Yeah, you can get me on Facebook if you want to talk to me, and if you want to see my work, you can find it all on Amazon. I've got a few little films up on YouTube of me painting and drawing and stuff like that if you want to check that out. Currently on Indiegogo in demand with the Jack Kirby book and DVD of my visits to see Jack Kirby. I'm on Instagram occasionally and Twitter occasionally. But mainly Facebook and Amazon, especially Amazon if you want to see my work with my books and magazines. And on Thursdays, I do a Comics Limited podcast with Ted Davis on Ted Davis Artistry, which is on at 10 a.m. EST and 3 p.m. GMT. And here on Sundays too.
And Mike Jimmy also does the sketchy Saturday show.
That's right.
At 10:30, right? 10:30 a.m.
10 a.m. Eastern on Saturday.
10 a.m. Eastern on Saturday.
The Wednesday show coming up, that's going to be on the RAGIN 2 broadcast network too, but I got to send Nita a card and intro for it, and I haven't worked on that yet.
All the, the little things that we have to do in the background.
Yeah, put that on your list. Yeah.
Yes, I know. I know.
Daphne, tell folks how they find you.
You can head on over to my main portfolio site at eagleworks.com, EGOWRKS, where you can find links to all of my galleries and social media sites. But I mostly post to Facebook if you want to see sketches and current work in progress and all my little dippy doodles that I occasionally put up. You can also go to my YouTube channel at Daphne Lage Art. That's Lage Art. And also you can find me here on the RAGIN 2 network for videos and semi-weekly art live streams. I'm not doing the Wednesday show, my Wednesday show this Wednesday, because I had something that I completely forgot about that I have to do. So, so semi-weekly, so just to be safe. So.
Need somebody to fill in?
No, we're good.
I'll sit here and sketch for a couple of hours and try to talk. Yeah, not a problem.
I mean, same.
Yeah.
I don't have to work.
So I got to figure out what to do with the Zimcast here in a couple of weeks. So I'm not going to be around.
Yeah, that's in the middle of the night for me. Otherwise, it would have taken over.
Yeah. Well,
we don't want to wake up until I am.
Might be like Daphne's show. Just skip it for the week and let it go. Yeah.
Let it rest. It needs to settle.
You can find me on Facebook if you want to write to me. Write to the zimcast@gmail.com. It's right there. Been there this whole time. So we're always looking to solve problems on the Zimcast. That's on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Solve problems or critique books if you think you can handle it. So send me a PDF and make sure in the subject line you write "I can take it," and then I'll know, and we'll critique your book on a future Zimcast. I promise we will if you send it, and we won't really be that harsh.
Honestly, I'd love to hear your critiques on Lava Korra 5.
Most of the time.
Just be careful who you send that email to.
Yeah. Send it to the zimcast@gmail.com, and we'll address it on the show. And the Zimcast 9 p.m. Wednesdays on the RAGIN 2 network, and then I'll be back here again Sunday morning. Daphne might be with me, Glenn might be with me, Russ might be with me, and someday Scott Rosema will be here as well.
If he wakes up.
If he ever gets up in time. I send him the links, he ignores the links.
Right. Well, so there you go.
So,
Scott.
I'm sure he's sleeping. All right. If you want to read any of my work, I don't mention this often enough. You go over to Amazon and type in War of the Worlds under Caliber, War of the Worlds Infestation. I wrote that book quite a few years ago. I'm still real happy with it. It's a pulpy adventure story of what happens 100 years after the original War of the Worlds happened and the Martians start dropping cylinders again. So it's a fun little book that one of these days I'm going to get back to that world and write some more stories on. But right now I've got a bucket list of other things that I need to get done. Like I'm writing a book, working on a book right now I'm working on print files for us to do for the month 2 to fill the long shots or the Fellowship of the Indies campaign. So
nice.
That might actually have a few extra copies of Calico and Paragon floating around here shortly. So we'll see what happens with that.
Can I claim one? I want Calico so bad.
Maybe. Didn't I send you a PDF? I can send you a PDF.
I would love a PDF. Yeah.
You want to read it digitally? I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
So other than that, folks, we'll be back on Wednesday nights. I might be on Dispatches from the Box, depending upon what C. Michael Lanning is talking about. That's on Tuesday nights. Dispatches from Outside the Box, I should say. That's on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. And then definitely back for the Zimcast this week. So maybe next Sunday we could have a theme of all of us pull out our favorite art books and show them.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
That way we
now
can
that
all
I have
see.
Everything at arm's length.
Now that everything's at arm's reach.
Yeah, exactly.
I got nothing above me except a furnace duct. So, hey, but I've got plenty of what you call book poops all over the basement.
Yeah, no, really.
All right, folks, we love you. Thanks a lot for listening in. Deeply appreciate you being here. Thanks, everybody in the chat. Thanks, everybody coming on here. And we're going to go out the way we came in, I think, with the same little promo. And we'll see everybody soon. I don't think I need to run another promo. I've got a network crawl here for our shows that we've already talked about, most of them. So, all right, folks, we'll see you. See you next week. Take care. This has been the Sunday Funnies for the 22nd of May, 2022. Please leave this industry in better shape than what you found it in, and buy independent and alternative comics.
Oh, no. Say it from the chest. Buy independent comics, especially ours. Right here. Baritone.
There we go. Take care, everyone.
Do you draw the Flintstones naked? There's a market for that.